So how do you get yourself and your team to execute, to take action, to get the results you want, especially when it comes to being around the new year? You know, we are all thinking about like goals, what we can do to not only set goals that will inspire us, get us to take action, but to communicate that to our clients, to the people that we inspire, and then get yourself and others to take action so you can actually achieve the goals that you truly want. Well, we're diving into the 4 disciplines of execution to really find a powerful strategy that we're actually going to be using in our Coach Accelerator program to help coaches not only achieve results that they've never achieved before, but even help others do that too. Cynthia, good afternoon, my friend. Always an action taker, always on these calls. And this is our business book club for coaches, where we dive into powerful books like the 4 disciplines of execution, share them with each other, or share our takeaways in our team app. If that's ever something you want to be a part of, it's actually currently free. We'll leave you that in the show notes below. But we're diving into these 4 disciplines of execution today. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over a quick summary of this book, which is a really, really powerful one, and share some of our key takeaways as we go. As always, I have my beautiful co-host with me here, my wife and powerful leader, who really is the one who leads us, even though I pretend like I'm the one who does it, she secretly does it. So how you doing, beautiful? Doing great?
I'm great. I hope everybody's doing well.
All right. So let's jump in, all right? So when you look at like this book, really, I know I've said this, like a powerful book, but it really breaks down a lot of the processes of how to get people to take action towards a goal and have them buy into the goal and come up with different commitments that they make every week to continue to elevate not only the action they're taking, but also the team camaraderie, there we go, to be able to get everybody to just elevate to a different level. Now, this book was initially recommended to me as I am, obviously we are life and performance coaches, and we run a huge community for coaches who want to accelerate their growth, but also they accelerate the growth of their clients and the impact and the income that they're making. And I have an opportunity every once in a while to take my coaching skills and to implement them in help other people in really large businesses to coach their clients. And one of the recommendations of this book was from a team of people who really elevates or leans into like the corporate kind of world, businesses who have 200 plus employees, and how they can implement some of the strategies around goal setting with them. And being able to read this book and utilize it in that space has really taught me a few different things that we can use here as life and leadership coaches, as performance coaches, so that we can actually get our clients to take massive action and get results, but also us get results too. So you're going to hear me talk about some of the different strategies they share here, and I'm going to have a little bit of a spin on it related to life coaching and performance coaching and how we can help our clients. But really, it breaks down to these 4 disciplines of execution. Now, the book is pretty thick. It shares a little bit of different strategies and how they actually help guide people through this process. So if you haven't read the book, definitely read it. But we're going to give you a really quick summary here today, all right? Now, they call this the 4 disciplines of execution because there's 4 different steps that we're going to go through today. Now, before we get into those steps, one of the things that they found has held people back the most, and I find this also in life coaching businesses, that this actually holds a lot of people back the most, is what they term is the whirlwind, okay? This is called the whirlwind. I'm going to spell it out here because I always like to type in the chat. Because what the whirlwind is, how they describe this is the day-to-day actions in the book. They say the day-to-day actions that you need to perform to keep your business moving, right? Now, as a life coach and performance coach, I want you to think about your whirlwind as the day-to-day actions that you have to take even outside of your business to keep your family alive, to keep your family moving forward, to keep you and everything else going on at home. It's like the dishwasher and the laundry and all the things you have to do that you need to do in order to like continue to live, right? But what can happen is when we don't have very specific time that we put into growing our business, helping ourselves, helping our clients, we can be trapped in the whirlwind of, but I have to do all of this stuff. And that's the thing that I see happen so often in coaches' businesses is they allow the whirlwind to take over. Now, one of the things that we're doing is we're creating this program called the Coach Accelerator so we can help you accelerate through the whirlwind Yes, still be able to do those things because they're required of you, but also be able to make time and energy to grow your confidence and skills so you can exponentially grow your business. That is something that we're doing with 25 coaches within our community. I'll share a little bit more about that at the end, but really it's the power of getting through the whirlwind, the day-to-day things that you have to do, and still being able to excel when it comes to your business, when it comes to you coaching and helping people achieve their results, all while being able to achieve yours. You have to make sure that you tackle the whirlwind, that you find a way to get out of that day-to-day, the monotony that is putting out other people's fire, so that you can still do those things, but also be able to excel in your business without actually having to do any more. It just has to do with your focus, all right? Now, once you realize that the whirlwind can have that control over you, and you put some things in place to prevent it from doing that, which is what we're going to be doing inside of the Coach Accelerator, then you can lean into the disciplines, all right? So these are the 4 disciplines of execution. The first one is to help focus on the most wildly important goal. Now, usually what we found, and I found this even in my coaching practice, but in the corporate world, is people will have like 72 different goals, and everybody will be on a different sheet of music, and they'll have different strategies they're going to be put in place, and they're going to put like 42 different actions that they're going to be tracking, and it just gets so overwhelming and so convoluted that you don't really know what to do to move your business forward. And we've seen our clients have this happen too, where they go through this beautiful life coaching session and they get to the end and their list of things to do just got to be 50 extra things long, and yet they still have to tackle their whirlwind, right? And doing that is in a way, number one, it sets us up for failure, but it also sets up our clients for failure. And so there's a process that we're going to take people through in the Coach Accelerator, and it's very similar to what they take you through in here, which is identifying like what is the most important goal that you have right now that will help move your business, your life to the next level. And when you can identify what that goal is, that is what your target is. Not 17 different goals, but one very specific goal, specific to business in this realm. And I'm going to encourage our people in our program to have one goal related to business and one goal related to personal, right? But you have to like really get like laser focused on what is the most wildly important goal that when you accomplish it, it's going to help you to be the biggest domino to knock over all the other ones. So it's all about focus, right? And intentionality, which is what Teresa liked to talk a lot about, instead of let's give like 17 different goals and think about hitting all of them. That's why nobody hits any of those. And maybe they'll hit 1 or 2 of them. But when you figure out what the most important one, you can get laser focus on that one to make sure that it happens. And all of your energy and effort goes to that one. Anything on that, Teresa?
Well, I think that this was a really aha moment for me. One was the whirlwind, right? Because even that word triggers something in you.
Yeah.
Because you know that it's that overwhelming feeling, that chaos that is going on in your life. And like you said, like those things, I mean, they need to happen, right? We need to function as a family. We need to function as a human. So there are those things that we still need to do. However, there's always that feeling of getting sucked into that, where I have heard this so many times where people will say, they don't say whirlwind, but they do say something to the effect of life has gotten in the way. Yeah. Right. And that's kind of like the idea that just life gets in the way and we can't reach our goals or we can't do this thing. Right. So even labeling that was really important for me to hear. I know that it's really important for others to hear. But then just having that focus, that's where my ears perked up, because I was like, oh, okay, there's a system now, and we'll jump into the system. But just that, you know, that you have a target is really exciting.
100%. One of the things that came up as you were chatting is the way that he kind of describes it in the book is kind of like how we talk about our 80-20 principle, right? And the way that he talks about it here is, he said 80% of your time is going to be on the whirlwind, 80 to 90% of your time, because it's required for you to continue to keep people alive in your family, right? If you have kids, guess what? Like 80 to 90% of your time is going to be on them. But it's the the 10 to 20% that we focus on our specific goal, that's what gives us the greatest opportunity to not only execute, but to achieve what we want to achieve, because we look at our schedule and we see all of the colors of our calendar, because he color coordinates the calendar, and you see all of the gray, which is the normal whirlwind, and you see these little blocks of black, which are like, that's when you're going to be focused on your wildly important goal. So it's not like, hey, I'm going to try to implement this every day, which is what I see most coaches doing, is they're like, hey, let's rework our entire schedule and spend 3 hours on our business. And, we don't have that time. That's not what we're saying here. We're saying here getting super laser focused, and the 20% of the time, putting it on your calendar and going all in is going to create drastic results in your life. Okay.
Yeah, and that's a really good thing to point out, because people will think that they need to spend a lot of time in working towards these goals, when in reality, when you get laser focused and you have that wildly important goal, and then you start to identify those things that we're going to talk about in a minute that are going to lead to that, then you don't need a lot of time. And that's the thing. That's the
100%.
beautiful thing. And it's the thing of, you actually get to work less but achieve more.
100%. 100%. Okay, so that is discipline number 1, is get very focused and clear on what's your wildly important goal. Discipline number 2 is identify your lead and lag measures. So I want to explain this a little bit in terms of what's called a lead measure and a lag measure, because it's going to get you to see why maybe you've been focused on the wrong thing. Most people focus on what's called the lag measure. What the lag measure is, it's like a number or like a goal that you have that by the time you already look at those numbers, it's already too late to figure out what are the actions to take in order to achieve something different. These are things like revenue. These are things like amount of people that you're going to help. This is like people that sign up for your program. That's called a lag measure, because by the time you look at it, it's already lagged behind in terms of the actions that you could have taken to increase the lag measure. Now, the lag measure is important. It's kind of like a goal. It's like a lot of the way that he described it is saying, I'm going from this to this by this time. So, for example, I'm going from $10,000 a month to $15,000 a month by March of next year. That is very crystal clear on what your goal is. And if you're tracking like your numbers, your lag measures, you should be tracking that. But if you're looking at now you make 12,000 or 13,000 and you're only focused on the lag measure, it's too late to go back and to make any changes to improve what that goal is. It's like you're waiting for things to change and you're hoping something's going to change, and yet you still make the same amount of money or make no money in your business, right? And so when you think about lag measures, they're important, but they're not what the main focus needs to be. So you need to think about what your lag measure is, but then you have to ask yourself, okay, what is my lead measure? And what they mean by lead measure is, what are the 1 to 2 things that you're predicting that if you focus your time and attention on will give you the greatest likelihood to adjust and change your lag measure? Okay. So when you look at this scheme of things, you have to basically take an educated guess and say, if this number improves, this action that I take, it's going to give me the greatest likelihood for the lag measure to change, the number to change. And then you put in the action and the energy to do that to see if you are right, if that's the right number. Now, here's the thing. Working with a lot of life coaches, like I'm going to share with you what I've found to be the most impactful lead measure, but it's going to have to be something that you're going to have to find for you to see what's going to make the biggest difference for you. Now, as a coach, one of the things that I have found is that getting on consultation or sales calls is the biggest lead measure that will lead you to the lag measure of increasing your income. So if you're like, my goal is to make $100,000 this year, one of the things that you can focus on is one of my lead measures is going to be the number of calls and consultations and sales calls that I get on. Because for me personally, when I notice that I get on more sales calls and have conversations with people, tell them I'm a life coach, and tell them that I can help them, that increases the amount of income that I make. And so when I focus my attention on, okay, my lead measure that I'm going to be tracking is the number of consultations or sales calls that I'm going to get on. Now I can ask myself, how can I get on more sales calls? How can I get on more consultations? How can I show people? Because that's kind of like our version as a coach. That's kind of like our version of a Costco sample. Is when we show them what is possible in that consultation, they go, my mind is blown. My life would be changed if I were to have something like this on a more consistent basis. Now we can talk about what that next step is, right? And that is you focus on the lead measure, which you feel is predictive of actually changing the lag measure. And so that's why we do need to have goals, but at the same time, not focus our attention on the numbers that we want to change at the end, but ask ourselves, what is the thing that we can lean into that we believe is the greatest predictor of being able to improve our lag measure? And that's where all of your focus goes. Not on social media posts, not on graphics, not on sales pages. Like, those are all beautiful things, but you know what those are called? The whirlwind. That's the stuff that you feel like you need to do because you need to put all this stuff together. But if you're not focused on getting on sales calls, for example, or consultation calls, then you're not going to be able to improve your lag measure. No amount of you putting together workshops or webinars or things like that, just for the mere purpose of it, is going to get you to move closer towards your lag measure if you know that your lead measure is getting on sales calls with people, right? And here's the thing. This is one thing that we're really going to be focused on inside of the Coach Accelerator. I see a lot of people who are coaches who just want to jump into creating a group program. They want to create like, I'm just going to open the doors. It's going to be so much better. I'm going to have a membership. I'm going to have all of these people who are going to be breaking down the doors and wanting to join. If you don't have demand for what it is you do as a coach, I would highly encourage you to start off by starting with one-on-one clients, not a group program. A group program requires you to have a lot of demand for that thing. For example, our Coach Accelerator. If Teresa and I hadn't been coaching one-on-one at a high level and required people to pay a lot of money in order to get that, we wouldn't have the demand to open up something like this and have 25 spots be taken. It's because we've put in so much action and energy of working one-on-one with people that it's actually built in demand. So people are like, I can't afford that, but I definitely need this. And so if you start off like in a coaching business and you're like, I'm just going to put together a group program, if you don't have the demand to support it, you're going to kind of fall flat. And you could have massive demand. You could be like the go-to person in your industry. We're not saying this is for everybody, but what we are saying is like, if you don't have that demand, you've got to create that demand. And how we do that is usually started off with one-on-one calls, with having one-on-one contracts, with helping people more on a one-on-one basis, sometimes even doing that for free in the beginning, so you can build up your credibility and build up that demand. So when you do eventually launch your program, which might be sometimes in the future, maybe you just want to do one-on-ones, who knows? But when you start to scale, you need to have that demand already built up, right? So that is identify and act on your lead measures. That is discipline number 2. Anything from you, Teresa, before we go on to number 3?
No, just really quickly is that it's a game changer when you actually figure out what your lead measure is.
Yep.
Like Mark was saying, like specifically for life coaches, that would be consultations and actually pitching your program, right? Or pitching your offer. But identifying that for yourself is what is going to allow you to spend less time, to be more laser focused, because you know for a fact that that is the thing that is likely to get you to your goal. So that is the game changer, finding out what your lead measure is. 100%.
We're going to be helping some of the coaches in our program do that. But we wanted to give you an idea of like what we have found to be the most consistent one through most of the coaches that we help. Okay, discipline number 3 is keep a compelling scoreboard. Okay. Keep a compelling scoreboard. So we start off with discipline number 1, which is identifying what your wildly important goal is, which is WIG, your WIG. The second step is identifying what your lead measure is and focus your time and attention on the lead measure. The third is put together a scoreboard that you can look at on a daily, at least weekly, but on a daily basis to see, am I moving my numbers forward or am I not moving them? This is a way for you to be able to track it. And it also brings out a competitive nature in a lot of people, especially if you're a coach who's growing your business in a community of coaches like we have. It puts you into a competitive environment that makes you want to continue to take action and get results, right? So when you have a scoreboard and it's a public display of it, obviously it could be digital. It could be like if you're in a brick and mortar, actually having a scoreboard, being able to see it will help not only you to take action, but it'll help show you where you need to spend your time and attention, which is on those lead measures. Now they have different ways of putting together like a scoreboard. Teresa actually put together one for us inside of the coaching accelerator. So if that's something that you guys do, it's something we're going to already have pre-done for you. But really just making sure that you identify what your lead measure is, what your lag measure is, and your wildly important goal, and make sure you have a way of tracking it so it's really easy. Not tracking every number in your business, but just tracking those most important numbers will help remind you of where you are and give you that challenge, that push to actually lean in and keep increasing your lead numbers. All right. All right, that's discipline number 3. Now, discipline number 4 is create an accountance of accountability. So those first 3 steps were really setting you up, right? Your goal, your lead measure, how do you track it? How do you make it visible to other people to get yourself to do it? The 4th is what's called a, what does he call it? A cadence of accountability. Now, this is also something we're doing in the Coach Accelerator, but what it is every single week you meet with your accountability team. And you go over 3 really quick breakdowns, all right? You share with them, number 1, what your commitment was last week and what were the actions that you took, all right? I'll describe how you figure that out in a minute. Number 2 is you share where you currently are on the scoreboard. As a part of that, you also are open to other ideas and other strategies to help continue to increase your scoreboard. And number 3 is you commit to doing something next week to move your numbers even more. So when you have these first 3 disciplines, then every week you sit down and you go, okay, what am I committing to doing to move that number? So let me give you an example. So we have a team here at Modern Leadership, and this is not something you might be able to do in this moment, but at some point you very much will be able to do this, where you have a team of growing people who are helping you to expand your reach and your impact. And what we do is we have a team. So Erin is our social media manager. And so what she does is she will go in and she'll say, Mark, I am committing to sending 75 invite messages to people to get them on a call with you so that you can actually talk about what this program is about. And so her thing is, I'm committing to doing 75 of these. Kurt is like, Mark, he's the video editor and producer and the number 2 in our business. He says, Mark, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be putting some call to actions in every single one of the videos that we post out there, and I'm going to tell them to sign up to join and get a call with you. Teresa, she's like, hey, I have my podcast and I have my email list. I'm going to be putting a call to action out there to get, so can you see how everybody is committing to doing something a little different, but they're all focused on the lead measure of getting people onto a call with me. And so by being able to do that, it's like everybody's coming together and focusing their synergy on this one thing. Now, right now, it might just be you, but you have to ask yourself, what am I going to commit to doing this week to get more people on the call with me? If that is your lead measure, and your lead measure is the more people that I talk to, the more people that can see what it is that I can do for them and how I can transform their lives by understanding how the brain works and how to coach, the more that I'm going to get actually people to sign up and to join my programs and to change their life forever, then that's your focus. And you got to ask yourself, what am I committing to doing this week? And at the end of the week, you jump in. For us, we're going to have it inside the app. You're going to jump into our app and you're going to say, this is what I committed to doing last week. Here's the results that I got from it. Here's some ideas that I'm thinking about doing. And here's what I'm committing to doing next week to make it an even better week. And when you have this cadence of accountability and you're getting feedback from people in terms of what's working, what's not working, especially in our environment, if you're a coach and now you're around a bunch of other coaches who are excelling, who are actually finding ways of getting people on, making sales and crushing it, you're now going to be able to have this cadence of hearing other people, what they're doing, what's working, and also what's not working, so you can continue to elevate this and continue to get yourself to take action on these 4 disciplines of execution. Now, what he suggests is doing this every single week and making sure that it's super laser focused. That's why we're only having 25 people inside of the Coach Accelerator, because we want to make sure that people get the most out of it and there's not 100 people having conversations and messages in there. And I know we kind of have been talking about that a little bit in terms of the Coach Accelerator. I'll go down what we're actually going to be doing that in a second. But Teresa, is there anything else that I know you listened to the book, anything else in this book that I missed, maybe something else that you think would be impactful for the coaches who are here today?
No, you didn't miss anything, but I just wanted to kind of reiterate what the importance of having something like this, having a system like this, even if it's just you. I mean, it works obviously beautifully with a team, and it could be a small team, but think about maybe the people that you actually have that aren't necessarily your team members, but they can actually help you in your business. So maybe it's one of your kids, or maybe it's a friend, or, I mean, anybody that would kind of contribute to that, like consider that, and consider like bringing them in and kind of like teaching the system to them so that they can help you out. So it's not just all on you.
Yep. I love it. I love it. And one of the things that came up is like, even one of the things you could commit to doing is reaching out to your current clients, the people that you've made impact with, and have them connect you with other people that maybe you can actually help as well. Right. So these are all just different ways that you can lean into like new commitments every single week. And sometimes the commitment's the same. Sometimes you find that it's working. So keep doing it. Right. So we found some commitments that are absolutely working it. And we're like, guys, let's keep doing that same thing, right? And Erin is usually, she's like, hey, I want to double it. I want to do twice as much. And I'm like, all right, light yourself on fire, girl. Like, she's like ready to go. But like being able to identify what those commitments are and then sticking to them and then seeing what the numbers are telling you and then making adjustments along the way are so really important. Julie, what's going on, my friend? Julie says she has 30 more pages to finish. Yes. So those are the 4 disciplines of execution. Now, I want to go really quickly. I know that we've been talking about this program called the Coach Accelerator, and I want to share with you a little bit my heart in terms of like what we're doing over the next 6 months. And we're looking for 25 coaches right now. We actually already have 8 who are in the program. So we're looking for a total of 25 coaches who want to make 2025 their year where they grow their impact and income in their coaching business forever. Not only exponentially, but also develop the skills and the confidence they need to know that when they're stepping into a room, they're going to be able to help anybody through anything that they're struggling with and be able to pass that confidence on to their clients. So we have a 6-month structure and program that we put together, and we're actually launching this as a beta group. We're actually giving people 50% off to be a part of this beta group. It's going to be twice as much the next time that we do this, but it's a 6-month program where you take a deep dive with me and Teresa. It even includes some one-on-one time with Teresa so that you can really make sure that not only are you growing your business, not only are you focusing on the things that are the most important and you have the skills and the confidence to do it, but also to make sure that you are balancing the harmony between your work, life, balance, those things that are like, they're called kids that are like really near and dear to us. They're really important to make sure that you are in synergy with showing up awesome in your business, but also awesome for your family as well. And that's what we're going to be doing inside of the program. So if you haven't heard about it and it's something you're interested in, you can either leave us a comment below and we'll reach out. If you're inside of our app already, inside of our book club, reach out to me or to Teresa and we can break down how the program works. Once we get to 25 people, we're going to close the doors down. We officially start on January 4th. One thing we are doing is for people who want to secure a spot right now is we're not making you actually, you're going to sign up and secure a spot, but we're not making you make your first investment into the program until the end of December. All right. Because we want to make sure that you're ready to go, that you have that time between Christmas, because I know there's a lot of things that are happening in between then, but that you are like dialed in, knowing that 2025 is going to be your year and we're going to help you crush it as well. So we're looking for those 25 people. If that's you, reach out to us and let us know. All right, that's all we got for you guys today. Thank you for leaning in for the book club. If you are part of the book club and you haven't gone in and voted on the next book, definitely go in, because tomorrow we're actually going to select our next book that we're going to lean into as coaches to continue developing ourselves, our clients, and helping us achieve our goals this year and next year. So thank you guys for what you do out there every single day, and we'll see you inside the app really, really soon, and maybe in the Coach Accelerator as well. All right, have a great day. Bye, everybody.